Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kyle and it's been just a minute since we've done a Toolsday video, but I've got a tool that showed up at my house the other day and I thought it was pretty cool, so let's talk about it. Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about a new drill driver that Milwaukee came out. They released it at MPS. I saw it there for the very first time and I didn't have time to get my hands on it just because it's a whirlwind of, just stuff being thrown at you and I just didn't have time. So I'm excited because they did send me one to take a look at, to share with you guys, kind of give my thoughts. So I haven't had this on site yet. I just opened it up and I kind of took a look at it because I think it's pretty cool and I have some high hopes about using it on the job site. But first, let's go ahead and show you what it is. This is the M12 installation driver and you'll obviously notice right away it's unique because it has this almost grip guard here in the front. And I'm not exactly sure what that's all about other than I like it because it adds a little bit of balance to the tool, as well as you will talk about later, some other features. So this is going to be the M12 battery platform and it's got a 2-speed selector, so nothing real new there. One thing right away that I noticed different from most drills, they've got their forward and reverse selectors here on top, and also the ability to lock it out. If you hold that button down for any extended period of time, it's going to give you the lockout. So we've got the selectable clutch like most drivers here, 1 to 16, as well as a full drill clutched out where it's not going to clutch out. It's just going to keep going until it runs out of power. We've got a LED light here on the front, which obviously as an installation driver, you're going to want that so that if you get into some cabinetry or up in a joist bay inside a truck hood or whatever, you've got a little bit of additional light to work with. So the other thing that I told you guys was unique about this is the visual. I don't even know what to call this thing. I don't even know what it's exactly for other than to add features. We've got the LED light. We've got our battery indicator here to show us our bars. We've got our belt clip hook, and a nice little feature here is a magnetic bit holder. So pretty cool, I guess. They can't give you all of those things without this little additional accessory coming out the front, but I just think it kind of makes it look cool and balances the tool out quite nicely. So I don't know, I think it's a cool little feature. So this is going to give you 300 inch-pounds of torque, which is nothing crazy, but it is just an M12 battery powered tool, so I wouldn't expect anything like an M18 power tool. However, with the 2 speeds, you're going to get 0 to 1600 on the second speed, and in the low speed, you're going to get 0 to 400 RPM. So you definitely got a wide range, and with the adjustable trigger, so depending on how much pressure you apply, it does change the speed there as well. Now, the other thing that I love about this is just how lightweight it is. It only weighs in at 2 pounds, which really is nothing. So I think that this would just really nicely sit into a pouch on my tool belt, and I wouldn't really even know I had it there. So if you're not wearing a tool belt, this nice hook does fit comfortably on something and hangs quite nicely. So overall, ergonomically, it looks good, it feels good, but how does it operate? And we'll get into that. But first, let's go ahead and talk about these 4 unique attachments that make this installation driver special. So first, what we're gonna have here, this is a offset, so pretty self-explanatory. You can see it's gonna attach to the drill and it's going to offset so that you're not having to put a bit straight out the end. It gives you some clearance to get into some tight spots. Specifically, think about installing a fastener on the top or back of a cabinet. Those are always hard because you're trying to get in on an angle. This is going to allow you to do that a little bit more effectively and probably a nice cleaner installation without stripping out your screw. Here we have a right angle attachment, and it's pretty self-explanatory. When you're in a tight spot and you don't have necessarily the clearance to get a whole tool in there, you can come in at a right angle and make it happen. But what's also cool about this attachment specifically is that you can add more attachments to it. So you can put the 90 degree on the drill and then add on one of the other 3. So here, this is the attachment that I will probably use the most often, seeming that I do a lot of screwing, is the 1/4" quick attach adapter. And that really just makes the drill driver, I think, the most ergonomically appropriate. But they also have a 3/8 drill chuck that you can put, you know, anything 3/8 and smaller in and spin it up to the desired RPM, like a drill bit or screw bit or really anything. So that is the 4 attachments. Let's go ahead and put them into some use, show you how they work, how the drill works, and I'll kind of show you how I think I'm going to use it personally on my job site. All right, guys, so I've shown you the tools, I've shown you the attachments, but I haven't shown you really how they go together. Now, there's a couple other tools on the market that are similar to this. The Bosch FlexiClick has the same kind of attachment system, and basically each attachment is going to have this mechanism that you just push open or pull open, and it's going to slide right over the head. So it's going to engage the 1/4" head on this side, is going to go right in, and it's going to lock. And you can actually go in just about any position, but for this attachment specifically, it doesn't really matter because it's just a straight attachment. This could be more important when we get into some of the other attachments, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead. We're going to put this one on. I'm going to put a standard T25 bit in, and I'm just going to show you how it works. We're just going to drive a screw. This is a 3" GRK. It's what I use a lot of, so for me, this is kind of, you know, a good test because this is what I do a lot of. First, we're going to go in slow speed. So very slow, and no loss of power. It just kept going. This is not a hard thing to do. Let's go ahead. We'll pull this out, and we'll put it in high speed because remember, that's only 400 RPM. This is going to give us a max of 1600 RPM. So I think that was fairly fast. Maybe not as fast as, let's say, the triple hammer or the Gen 3 Milwaukee, but for most applications, I think that is a plenty fast enough speed to put in a framing screw. No loss of power, it just kept going, so that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and let's just try, since we've got this attachment on, let's try a little bit of a bigger lag. I don't think I'll be able to drive it entirely in, but just to kind of see what it does. Okay, I went ahead and just drove it through my table for you guys, so now I've got a hole in my table, but that's cool. Now that's in second speed, so you could definitely tell that there was a loss of power, but at first speed or in single speed, let's see what happens. That's pretty good, it just kept driving it. So it's a lot slower, but obviously you're gonna get that torque necessary to drive those larger fasteners. So that's one thing that I will say right away that I'm not a fan of instantly on this driver is not having the forward or reverse selectors here where I'm used to them. Having them up here is just kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of annoying. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments if that's gonna be an annoying thing or not. That's also right where you're selecting the lockout. I can tell that's gonna be one thing that's annoying. So anyway, that is just the standard 1/4", I guess, kind of socket there that's gonna take most standard 1/4" bits. Got the quick attach. Let's go ahead and look at the 3/8 chuck. This is the other thing that I would probably more or less use over the right angle or the offset, and that's gonna just give me the drill that I typically need when we're drilling out purlins, post holes for bolts, stuff like that. This is a 1/2" drill bit, so let's go ahead and just pop a couple holes through this 2x4. So that's in 2-speed, really no loss of power. Let's go in the first speed here. That's actually pretty impressive. Not really demanding. It's not like a 4-inch hole saw bit, but once again, that's not what this thing is designed for. It's for your installers, the guys doing cabinetry work, maybe a plumber that's working up in a floor joist or something and needs to get offset and get around a pipe that's in his way. So let's show you guys where that comes into play with the other attachments. Specifically, we'll go right to the right angle attachment, and you can see when I put that first hole through with the bit, you could see that I was kind of on an angle. Well, what if we had this cool right angle? Is it going to help us at all, or is it really just kind of a gimmicky thing? I don't know. Let's see. So it doesn't give you a ton less clearance. I'm going to grab a tape measure. So with this specific setup here, you know, the bit is always going to be an issue because that's going to add length to your tool. But what did we save? That's basically, I'm sitting at around 9¼ inches. Now, if I take this right angle attachment off, just go straight into the tool, I'm now sitting at about 12½ inches. So it does save you a considerable amount of space, allowing you to get into tighter places. But I think really where this is going to shine is maybe if you are that plumber or that installer, whatever that might be, and you're up in a tight space and there's, like, let's say a pipe in your way, a conduit in your way, this is going to allow you to get up and over it probably a lot more effectively than not having a right angle. See, like if there's a pipe here, I can get up and over it, or if you're in this tight bay and there's a electrical conduit running right along a joist, you're able to kind of get this in and around it without, you know, the cumbersome, you know, there's just so many times where the tool, it just won't fit. And I think that they're hoping, and I think it will work quite well for guys in the field, being able to get up and over things in your way with these attachments. So the offset, let's talk about the offset, because I think the 90° is probably going to be great for some people, probably not so much for me, but who knows? It's one of those things that maybe just having it in the toolbox, I'll find somewhere where I'm like, that is going to be perfect. Let's go get that 90° attachment and give it a try. These things, it's like, really, does that offset really matter? Is being, you know, just a 1-inch change really going to make a difference? And I think when you're, let's say, doing cabinet installs or whatever, and you've got to get up against a cabinet wall and you want to put a screw in and keep it nice and flush instead of coming in at an angle, I think that's really where probably this is going to shine. Now, once again, I'm not probably going to be doing a ton of this work. So you can see right here, I've got the offset, I'm up against this stud, kind of simulating maybe being in a cabinet or some other application where it's just really tight and you don't want to have to drive your screw in at an angle to get over to the side. You're going to be able to put this thing all the way up against it and go straight in, keeping this screw like perfectly parallel and only about 3/8 of an inch away from the side of this board. So I'm sure that cabinet guys love this. I don't have any cabinet work to do off the top of my head right now, but I am interested in giving that a try because I remember those days of installing cabinets and always having to angle my screw, which then leads to not only just an ugly screw, but usually when it comes on an angle, it's going to kind of tear out the material on one side and leave the head sticking out on the other. So if you know, you know. If you've never done that, just take my word for it. All right, so that's kind of what I think this tool was really aimed at, is maybe the guy that's in tight locations, installing cabinets, maybe a DIYer that doesn't want to buy 4 different tools or 3 different tools really. This tool is gonna probably serve all those purposes, right? Well, Kyle, why do you want it? Why do you think it's cool and why are you sharing it with us? Because I do a lot of installing of metal. You guys have seen it on my channel, and I'll tell you what, so we use a lot of impacts, or we use the VersaClutch or the Makita VersaClutch, whatever, to install screws, and it's great. However, it's not good at doing like detail work, so we end up using our impacts. Impacts are not really supposed to be used on painted headed fasteners because it can be detrimental to the screw. Now, every post frame builder out there, I say every, but I probably shouldn't say every, I'd probably say 99%, are using impacts because they are the fastest, the strongest, they're lightweight, and they just work really well. I'm always looking to be better, and if my screw manufacturer says, yeah, you shouldn't use impacts, like we know we need to probably change things so that impacts are usable, they still say don't use an impact. This tool could replace an impact. I could use my Versa clutch when I'm screwing the field, which means basically just the majority of the screws. But when I get into my trim details or setting a panel, I like to have an impact because it's a lot more precise, but it's still an impact and still can ruin the paint on the screw. So long story short, I'm looking for a driver that's going to be ergonomic, that's going to be lightweight, but it's going to have the power to drive these screws. They're a metal to wood fastener like you see right here and that we use on all of our buildings. So I've just got a piece of 29 gauge metal. That's what we typically use for our barns. And I just put the standard 1/4 inch attachment on with a pole barn screw. We're going to go into second speed and let's just see how it does. Okay, so that was plenty quick enough. No real loss of power, but what I love about this is that because of this trigger, because it's not an impact, I just have ultimate control. I could perfectly set a screw with the most perfect precision with this tool a lot better. And I don't know about longevity, runtime, because I haven't had it in the field, so I don't know how long a battery's gonna last. But this can give me the ability to set my trims and do my detail work with a lot more precision. So I'm really excited for it just for that. The other attachments, everybody else can have them. I just like this. And you might be saying, well, Kyle, why don't you just use an M12 regular drill? I just don't like them when I put them in my hands. I just don't like them. This actually just feels good. I like where the hook is placed. It kind of reminds me of the stapler, the M12 stapler, which I really like. So the other thing that I wanted to do though was this is a 2.0 battery and this thing comes with two 2.0 M12 batteries, but I wanted to put an M12 4.0 battery on and I don't have any of the 6.0s just to see if it changed anything with the speed or power. So I don't know if that's easy to recognize or not, but it sounds different. Let's see if you can pick it up on the mic. Now, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's definitely more power going through the drill. So that's great because it's also going to give me great runtime and it fits ergonomically in here without really, being detrimental to the design or the feel of the tool, I think. So pretty cool. Man, I'm pretty excited to get this out on my job site because I think it's gonna work great in my application. And I'm sure with all these different accessory attachments, it could work really well in many applications. So if you think this might be something that could be applicable to you, I'll drop a link down below, go check it out. And definitely make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. Turn on the bell notification so you're instantly notified, and definitely go check out Instagram if you don't already, because I'll be using this a lot more over there, just naturally out on the job site. At RRBuildings is my tag, and go ahead and hit me up with some questions and comments either down below or over on Instagram as you see me use it. This tool is $179 bare tool, $229 with the battery. So it's gonna save you from having multiple tools potentially. I don't know, that's something for you to decide. For me personally, I'll probably just use this attachment for the most part. So if you haven't already, go check out some of the other videos that I've been working on, specifically the current build series, the hunting cabin build. It's pretty epic and it turns out awesome. So you can follow along with that. But thank you for the support. I'm gonna get out of here and we'll see you guys on the next video.